Hello, Karen Bearse here, and I am here today for the Topflight Happy Birthday 4 years hop, 4th birthday hop. So really excited to be here. I've been on the design team for a while. It's a great team, great group of inspirational gals. There's some of the things I'm going to be playing with, and we are just going to make a easy card that looks like it took hours to make. I'm going to start with my background. I've just grabbed a card, a piece of craft card. And to be honest, I'm not a card maker. I probably make 1 or 2 cards a year, and that's when Topflight has a card challenge. So I don't even know the proper dimensions for a card, but you can easily size this to whatever dimensions you want. I just realized this isn't even straight. Let me trim that up. Okay, so my card is actually, I'll give you dimensions just for fun, 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. But again, this technique is super simple in order to be able to, or rather you can, you can size it to whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to start with a cool mixed media background. What I'm going to do is Art by Marlene by Studio Light has a number of these awesome collage paper packs, and it's a great jumping point, especially if you're not big into mixed media and or you don't have the time. I do a ton of mixed media, but I was like, oh, let's do something really fun and funky but fast. So I'm just going to come along here and pick something out that has a birthday happiness theme to it, like that one. And again, she actually has 2, but she also has 2 new ones, I believe. She just came out with 2 new ones to give you a little bit of a view. But aren't they, they're just awesome. They're just luscious. And the paper is a great weight. It's designed, again, it's designed for collage, so it's a fairly lightweight paper, but it's great for layering. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I do want to do some sewing on my card. And I am going to come in and just tear using a tear ruler. This one is by We Are Memory Makers. You can get them, anywhere where fine supplies are sold. And we'll see if we can get Topflight to bring one in. That would be fun. I'm going to make a line or an estimate of where to cut to tear this, but I do want the craft card to show. So, I need to take off a little bit here, pretty much a little bit here. Maybe I'll just do those 2 edges and then it'll be easier. One of the easy ways to do it is to just put your ruler along the edge like this, and you have to press down, and then you simply tear. Yes, that would be cool. So you see, because I did it from the back, I get that white edge, and that's kind of what I was looking for. Then I'm going to come along here. Make sure I really like, do I want this part or this part? It's kind of like this part, more partial to the teal. So I'm going to come along. And the reason why I'm doing the short edges first is because I really wasn't sure. Sometimes it's hard when you're doing the edges, a short edge. It's hard to get it to work. So I wanted to do the short edges first. And after that, I can just, actually I can leave it like this. And make sure, yep, teal. And I just want to have sort of an edge around. So I'm going to line this up to try and make this straight. If it's not perfectly straight, it doesn't really matter because we're getting this, mixed media look. And I'm going to sew on it, and so it'll probably be fine. And line it up here, though, to try and at least attempt to get a straight. There we go. Love it. So now I'm just going to glue that down. So I'm just going to come in with Andy Skinner's Cosmic Shimmer Quick Grab Glue. And I want to coat the back of my card, or the back of my paper, so I'm going to take the lid off. I'm just going to get a piece of scratch paper. And I'm going to put a couple of dabs on it. So I'm going to take a scraper and I'm just going to scrape that glue along my card. And I guess it is a good idea to do it from the top, to scrape down. I guess that would make sense, wouldn't it? The best part of this is you can see how goofy I do it, and it'll still work out, hopefully. Okay. I like the teal at the top. So I'm just going to put my fingers underneath, line that up, and then come along. And I can use the non-glue side of the scraper to smooth out any wrinkles that I might have. Now, I did kind of come off a little bit crooked, but again, this is mixed media card, but I can come back and, so I can come back and just tear this a little bit. It's probably not a great idea to do it at this point because the glue is wet, but it's mixed media. Oh, you know what? I'll show you a fix for that. That's a great idea. Okay, I've torn my paper. Oops. Whatever shall I do? I'll show you a good fix for that. Okay, so that's my background. That worked really well. You can also use, you don't have to use wet glue. The thing about wet glue is you can get sort of waves in the paper because it is a wet glue. But what you could use too is the double-sided tape that we have in the shop. And that would work great as well. But again, we're trying to do fast and easy. So, step one. I'm just going to put this away. The next thing I'm going to want to do is to work on my focal image. And I find an easy way to do that and to make sure you stamp a nice crisp image is to use a stamp platform. This is no longer available in the United States, but Topflight has one that is available. And I will link, all the links to these will be on my blog. And I will link to my blog below. And if you go there, you can see step out photos. And then you can see all the links to all the products. There's also, we're having a blog hop. So there'll be a list of all the other gals that have come out and done cards for the blog hop. There'll be links to that. There's prizes to be won. So yeah, you need to go on there and check it out and see what we've got. See what we've got going on. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use these magnets and I'm going to put my image down and then, or my paper down. Then I'm going to put my image. I want it to give me options. I'll trim it down. Then I will take, so if you can see that, I will take an archival ink and the reason why I want to use archival is because I am going to add some wet media to this, so I want it to be permanent. So that's a great image. I missed a little bit in the middle, which can sometimes happen because, you know. So that's one of the reasons why I like this, because I can go back in with my ink and just sort of press in that area where I missed. And there, shazam, looks great. Okay. So I have my image, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along with my craft mat, And I'm going to use some of these new ink pads by Lavinia Stamp. All I'm going to do is take a little bit of the ink. Ooh, wow, that is so pretty. Look how bright that is. Goodness gracious. Ooh, these are nice and juicy. And I'm just going to put that on my craft mat. Come in a little bit. So you can see, I'm going to use it as a watercolor. And I'm going to give this just a little bit of a spritz of water. And then take a water brush and come in and color. Now I also know that I want to use this Cosmic Shimmer embossing powder on part of my cupcake as well. And it's a bit chunky. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll use it as the frosting. So I have to keep that in mind when I, you know, which colors I'm going to use. But let's be, you know, come in here with the star. Ooh, and the candlelight could be yellow. And I'm not being super careful. I'm just adding a little bit of color. Because again, mixed media. Now, one of the challenges, I'm not using watercolor. I probably should have grabbed watercolor. This is just regular cardstock. And so I don't have the dry time. The difference when you use a watercolor paper, it lets the wet media sit on top of your image, which gives you more time to play. So that can be a challenge. I can spritz this with a little bit of water to help, but again, it's not designed for this. So if I take the yellow and the sort of teal, I mix it together, I'll get that nice little green color. Can come in with that. And I kind of do have to work a little bit quickly if I want any kind of blending. That's fun. Come back in with the red. This, I bet, will make a really pretty purple. Let's see what we get. Oh, it's kind of like a... Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, like a super dark, almost a black purple. That could be fun. But it's a good idea when you're playing with your paint, you know, to get an idea, just to play with them and see what colors you get when you mix them together. It sort of gives you an extra layer of fun. And could also come in with this, will give me an orange color, depending on how much yellow. That's pretty. There. And now I have this sketchy mixed media look, which is kind of fun. Okay, so now I do know that I want to come in with that, but I do want some color where those lines are. So I am going to come in with some of that. I've got, these are the colors I have: Sundance, Paprika, and Mermaid. Of course, that's Mermaid. My favorite color, that blue. All right, I think that's pretty good. And if I want, I could add some yellow in here, but I kind of, do I like it white? Yeah, I kind of like it white. I'm gonna leave it white. All right, so the next step is we're going to dry this up really well, and then I'm going to add my embossing powder. Okay, now I've got my cool, eclectic, I like that, how that turned out. So I'm just going to dry this up. Now, one of the things I like to do when I have extra media like that left over is I like to just take a piece of cardstock, and here we go. And I'm going to mop that up because that's some good paint. I could use that for a background. I could use that to put a word on. You never know. I might come in with a quote in a bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, again, this is just regular old craft paper. I'm just going to come in and get some of that color up. And I don't want to mix it too much because I do have the potential to make mud. But that just gives me, you know, options. And then what I do is I have a box and I just put these scraps in there. And then, for example, when I want to come put a quote on, I can just, you know, pick that scrap up and away I go. So we'll just put that up. When we want to emboss, we're going to get our heat gun and you want to have it warmed up. We need embossing ink and my project. And there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can take a fine paintbrush, put it in the embossing ink, and draw the lines. Or, yeah, like I could take something like, not a water brush, but just a regular fine brush. And then that will give me the lines that I need. So let me do that. This is pretty fine. The other product that you can use, and this is just fantastic for this kind of thing, and it is the Wow Mixed Media Embossing Brush by Seth Apter. And this is great when you have a heavier, chunkier embossing powder that you're using, which a lot of Seths are very mixed media, they're very chunky, or you want to do a technique like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to pick up the embossing ink, and I'm just going to put it on my cupcake, avoiding the lines. And I just went over that one, but we can draw that back in too. So what I want to do is I want to get ink in between as best I can. I'll show you a little trick too to fix it if it doesn't work out. Then I'm going to need a piece of paper just to catch that excess embossing powder. So I'm going to want to shake this up because it is chunky, and I am going to pour it on my card. And we'll see because, yeah, look at that. I waited, I was messing around and it still worked. Look at that. So now what I can do if I want, I can come in with something like something that's got a fine, oh, you know what? A pokey hole tool is a good one to use. An owl or pokey hole tool. I can come in and I can just take that powder off of those lines. Like that. So all I'm doing is basically, because I was kind of sloppy, I'm just drawing those lines back in. Okay, sorry about that. It's kind of hard for me to see when I'm doing that. So you don't have to listen to the heat gun. I will just let you know what I'm doing. I'm just taking the heat gun and I have it on the high setting, putting it behind my project. So it really helps to keep the, especially the chunky embossing from blowing away. And it's kind of fun too, because then you can really see the reveal. So fun. Now you see where I do have like that little bump. I can just pick that off where I created that sort of blister because my heat gun was a bit too close. But that is fun. Now, I did still miss a spot over here. So I'm going to go back in and just add a little bit more. There we go. In hindsight, I really should have just used an embossing pen, and they are available on Topflight. That would have made it easier to control. All right. How fun is that? My cupcake looks like it has real frosting on it. So I did sort of cover up that line. But again, as I said, I can show you how we're going to go back in and we can draw those lines back in. So what I can do is take my sample stamp I could, had I marked where the image was, I could go back and stamp on top of this, but it's a bit of a risk, right? Because my paper's been wet and dried, so it's probably shrunk. I probably wouldn't get a crisp image, but what I can do is take the image or the stamp that I have, got another one here, and I can just copy where the lines are. If you're good at drawing, you probably don't have this problem. However, I am not. And I'm going to want to use something that's permanent on there. So I could use a Sharpie or just any permanent pen, but one of my favorite go-tos for this kind of thing is a Posca paint pen. So I am going to look at my sample, and I'm just going to come in and redraw those lines. I could also do this in white. That might have been nice too, because, you know, frosting, white. But this just gives me an idea of where those lines go. And I still sort of have the shadow of the line. And then for even more definition, I can come out here and just put that back in. There we go. Nice. So now I have my frosting. I'll be back. So now before I sew around this card, I want to, and if your card's, you know, not flat or cattywampus, you can just shape it to be flat, put a book on top of it. It'll flatten out. But I do want to get rid of this little blip that I had over here, and Topflight has washi tape. So there's all kinds of things we can do to sort of fix this. And I'm not sure if these ones are still in when you're seeing this video, but for example, All in Create is one of the washi tapes we carry, Alexander Renke. There's a couple of others. What's fun is I can come in, and now I'm thinking that would be fun to use as words on this potentially as well. But I can just come in and put a piece of washi tape over here, and that just fixes my mistake and makes it look like, no, I meant to do that. Look at that. And to sort of balance it out, I could take another piece or put another couple of pieces. Give it a little more mixed media flair. So I can just stick my washi tape down here, and that just gives me an additional little bit of interest. Could even take now, of course, I've gone completely lost in what I'm doing, and now I'm just playing. But, you know, that's fun too. So there's my background, and that's fixed where my tear was. And so I'm going to go sew around both my pieces, and I will be back. So here is my, had some light on the subject. So here's my card. I've sewn around it. And I've also sewn around the cupcake. Hot tip, if you're sewing and you mess up, like here I went off, completely off. Dog barked, mailman comes, your Topflight stamp order comes, and you get distracted. Here's a quick sneaky fix. Just finish off your row, and where you messed up, just put in a straight stitch and sort of go back and forth a couple of times, and then it makes it look like you did it on purpose. How great is that? So there you go. I've got that. Another thing I recommend is to cover this with a bit of glue and either a glue stick underneath or just put some collage glue on top. That will help to keep it stuck down. So I think I am going to get a dauber and I'm going to ink up those edges. I'm a foamy guy. And I think I'm going to have to go with that fabulous mermaid color just to distress that a bit. And I think I am going to trim this side down too. It's a little off, it seems. Again, mixed media, it's not that important. I kind of like the threads, some of the dangle threads, so I think I will keep some of those there anyway. I'm just going to trim a tiny bit off of that. Okay, yes, I'm liking that. That's kind of fun, isn't it? So I'm going to take some of this mermaid. Again, this color is really rich. And just does not need much. Look how well that matches that color. Love me some teal. Teal type colors are my favorite. And I can just come in and scuff up that white. There we go. That looks good. I think I am going to trim these ones just a little bit here. All right. Now, I'm going to adhere that down. I'm thinking of my next step. So for this adhesive, I'm just going to use tape runner or the, what you call it, double-sided adhesive. And what I like about this is it just tears, so it's easy. And I will. Okay, so I'm going to peel that up. Another thing I like to do with these is to put glue stick. I'm an overgluer. I don't know, I just am. Oh, you do have to press the glue to make it stay down, especially on the threads, because the threads are sort of textured. There we go. And you need to press down to make the glue stick. And then I am just going to take a glue stick and just do some, mainly because I don't like it when especially on a card, not that I know much about cards, but I do know, I don't want it to come up. I think I'm going to just put that right there. There we go. Sticks that really nicely. So I'm going to come in and figure out my quote, and I do really like those words, so I think I'm going to add some of those words in. But I'd like to figure out the placement of my quote. And this is the Art by Marlene black and white sticky quotes, and they just have some great quotes in it. I mean, for any kind of situation, and basically each quote comes in black and in white, so you have double. And then, like, I could put something funny. I could put something, you know, you have someone who has a birthday that needs a little push. You could say, be brave enough, listen to your heart. Oh, new possibilities are waiting. That's always good on your birthday. Choose a rainbow. This is where magic happens. I like that. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to use that, but I also realized I do want to use a celebrate quote. I do have celebrate, and I thought I'd like that as well. And I was thinking of, this is Darkroom Door, and they have, you can tell I'm using all the things. Surely not all things. Yes, all things. they have a Celebrate. They have great word script quotes. And I think they're called, sentiment stamps. And they have for all kinds of occasions. They do have a birthday one, but they have Mother's Day and Father's Day are two of the new ones, and Adventure and Dream Big. And this is just, it's great whenever you need a word. So Celebrate, even though this is coming from Christmas, Celebrate is Celebrate. And when you get these, they come in one long piece. Yeah, you can cut them out. So, for example, Follow La 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 is here. I like to keep them in order. That way it's easier. So Celebrate is right here. And all I'm going to do is take a nice strong pair of scissors to cut these out. And you don't have to cut them out if you don't want. You could stamp sheets of these and then just, you know, cut it out whenever you need it. I tend to like mine cut out. But again, I don't do it all in one go. I just sort of do it as I'm using them. And then I'll just put those back in the same spot. So then I know that this is going to be sleigh bells, Yuletide, etc. And it just helps make it easier because you are reading backwards. And my little Celebrate goes right there. Hot tips everywhere. So I've got my quote, and I'm going to come along with Darkroom Door Lots of Labels and see if there's a label that would fit this one. This one is a little bit, this one leaves some space. That would be fun. Kind of, well, I'll just stamp two and we'll have choices. It'd be fun too to even do something like that, wouldn't it? Oh, I kind of like that idea. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll cut that out. So I thought I would give you a hot tip. When you're cutting these out, you want to make sure that you're cutting them with your scissors. I mean, ideally straight up and down, because you want to make sure you still have that foam piece in order for the stamp to be able to stamp. I tend to like to cut them just a little bit at an angle. I don't even know if that's right. You could email Rachel Gregg at Darkroom Door Stamps and ask her. But I tend to just like to, that way I ensure that I don't cut too much of that foam, because you need the foam to be able to press down on that image. I hope she's not cringing. Karen, what are you doing? Okay. So I'm going to stamp these three just to give myself some options here. I'm going to take that piece of cardstock I had. Oh, the other thing I can do is that little leftover bit. That might be fun to stamp some of those as well. Okay, let's just stamp a few and see what happens. See if I can do them all at once. It's probably going to be a disaster. If I use the stamp block, I'd be able to do it for sure. Let's see, drum roll. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. Usually when I do this, when I pull stamps out like this, I'll stamp multiples and then cut them out so that I already have them ready and waiting. And I only ever just spray my stamps with a bit of water, spritz of water, and clean it with a rag. Okay, so I can cut those out. Then I can come along and see my little quote. Now, I don't have to do my quote in black. I could do it in color as well, which that might be fun, but let's do a couple in black just to see. Give myself some options. And I'm also going to put that on here randomly. And then maybe I will come back come back with the bigger one. I kind of like the idea of doing the circle in a color as well. But this is always a fun way to craft because number one, I'm just having fun. And number two, it's giving me ideas of what I can do. I'm nowhere near on camera probably. Okay, not terribly badly off, so that's good. It's tricky. There's a lot of moving parts here, people. All right, I'm gonna just come in and make that. That's fun. So now I've got myself a few little options of what I could do. Oh yeah, I was gonna stamp one in the color, wasn't I? So let's do that. I think I like the idea of the round one. I am gonna clean this off though, because I really, even though it's archival ink and it dries very quickly, I don't want to put a big black. If it had sat for a bit, but my ink pad's new. And yeah, I can't get over how juicy these are. It's like hardly needs any. Look at that. Oh, so sometimes you get that little round. All it means is you just have to clean off that inside, and you can actually cut that out too if you want. So I'm just going to make sure that that's pressed into the block. So I seem to have a bubble there. Oh, actually, you know what? It's not going to matter. I'm going to cover that up. But if you did want to, you could, I'll show you how to prevent that with any stamp that does this. It's so funny. It's like, you know, the days where you craft away and nothing happens of note and everything works flawlessly. And then for those of you who make videos or demo or teach, you know that that's when stuff is going to go awry. Because I usually don't have that problem with these. It's not a problem, just a minor inconvenience. There we go. Sure, that's nice and round. Okay, once more with feeling. Voila, look at that. So there's your solution. Isn't that great? That's what I'm here for, is to show you all the things that can go wrong and how we can fix it. Oh, I have to do this because that just gave me an idea. So one of the things that's fun is to do a watercolor image after on your second stamp. So for example, this is because these are super juicy. I just love it. But let me say I come in with that. I still have a lot of ink on here, so I can do a spritz of water and then come in again. Oh, look at that one. That's kind of cool too. And then now look, it's almost like I have 4 different stamps, but that's just a fun technique, fun extra technique. All right, so now I have to decide which one I'm going to do. Okay, I did clean up my area a little bit because, you know, when stuff starts to fall on you, that's when you need to clean it up. So I'm not very good at cutting circles. There's all kinds of ways that you can cut these out. Especially, and I often don't think about this, but if you have one of those circle die cuts, you know, circles, like they're die cuts that go circle, 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 a lot of times there will be one that fits. I just happen to have one for this, and if not, you can try to cut it. This circle is 1 inch. Yep, 1 inch. So therefore this must be a 1 inch punch. It's funny, it doesn't say anywhere. You would think it would. But anyhow, so I'm just going to slide that in. and get it in the center. There's a little bit of an edge that's going to get cut off, but it's very small. Okay. There you go. Of course, now my paper's stuck in there. Perfect. I really like that. So that's one way to do it. I could do that, and then I can come in here, and I'm going to just cut this without really thinking about it. If you want, you can make it nice and square or rectangular. I'm just going to cut away. And then chances are good I won't like it because it's not straight enough. So that's one way to do it. That's kind of fun. Let's see what other options we have. I'm just going to cut these out and I will be back. So I have my circles cut out and labels, have some labels and some words. And then I just need to decide where everything's going to go. I do want that quote. Confetti in my hair, but I don't care. That's a good one for birthdays. This is where magic happens. That's a good one. There's so many quotes. It's actually really amazing how many quotes there are. All right. So I'm kind of figuring out what I'm going to choose as far as words, and I think I've got this idea. I like the celebrate on there, so I think I'm just going to go for it and glue that down. Like this. Probably a good idea just to stamp it on there, but that'll work too. Celebrate. I think I like that just the way it is. I like to just place it and not quite tack it down, because when I do tack it down, inevitably I don't put it in the right spot. I do like that. That would be neat for another day to do that. It's kind of fun. I also do like this colored one. That's another fun block as well. So we've got some extras, and then I do want to put some background stamping, because apparently when I make a card, as I said, which I almost never do, it's turning into a little mini art journal page, which I really like. You know, it would be perfect if you had a little cupcake charm. That would go great, but I don't believe I do. So let's just do it. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to stick that down. That's like, do I want that over the... kind of close to the cupcake. That's interesting too. Oh, I like it like that. I don't know. Decisions. Because I want to use all the things. I'm going to grab a couple of stamp sets. These are by Seth Apter. This is one of my all-time favorites. I just used it in my last one. So I'm just going to pop that one, because why not? And then this is one of his new ones that I also just used in my last post. I really love those, so I think I'm going to pull those out. This is my idea as I go, where they're going to go. And I also have this one. And this would just be fun to... Oh, that would have been good for birthday. Would have been to make a magic. Maybe do this, put some numbers. This is fun too. Numbers. But I also think I'm going to go back into this one and get these round circle. All right. And again, I'll have all the lists to what these are on my blog. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with stamps and just sort of do sort of in the background. So I want it to be a little fainter. You know, I'm not necessarily going to do black archival for all of them, although I think I might do this because that would be nice, the 3. Art likes it when you create in 3s. Your eye, it's pleasing to the eye. So I think on this case, and the only thing I don't like is I know I'm not going to want it coming up over that. I'm being picky and fussy. It's very not me. Probably because, you know, card making. All you card makers out there, it's so brilliant what you do. All right, I'm just going to kind of mask that off so that my stamp doesn't go over the edge. Although that might be fun too. Oh, now that I think about it, I kind of like that idea. I'm gonna go with my, oh, you know, I could check it out by doing this. That's a good way to see what that would look like. I do kind of like stamping it off the edge as opposed to, yep, I like it off the edge. Who knew? Yeah, cool beans. Okay, and then I'm going to take some what I'm going to do, because these are so juicy and new, I'm going to stamp off. I'm going to stamp once. Yeah, that would be about what I would like, because I think I'll put it there. I'm not sure I want it in the red, though. Oh, why not? Seems very Red Cross-ish. That works. And I think I'm going to put another one down here to give some interest. I don't really want it on that. There we go. Just wanted to make, again, it's sort of wanting to push it back into the background a bit. I like this a lot. This is a little dark, but that's okay. Again, I'm just being super picky, super fussy. Now I'm just in full-on play mode. That's what it is, because I could just keep on working on this one little piece for days and days. All right. I don't have, let me see what that yellow looks like. Oh, that's actually quite pretty. Let's do that. I'm just going to ink up 3-ish. And I'm going to come along. There we go. Yeah, I like that. I'll wash these off afterwards. And then lastly, let's go in with the numbers. Okay, I'm going to use the red again. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm going to get the 1, 2, 3 in. Oh, that would be fun, actually. I think there. You know what I can do, too, to get an idea of what it'll look like? Here we go. We'll do Design Class 107. I can do this just to see, just to give me an idea of what that will, where that will go. And again, normally I just plunk stuff down. I know it's because it's the birthday hop, and I'm feeling like I need to, you know, needs to be more special. See, I really like that there, but then I don't like that there's a 6 there. Kind of looks funky. Oh, 1, 2, 3. This is where magic happens. Aha! Yes, I think because that makes it look like it's part of the... Okay, let's do that. Where did it go? 1, 2, 3. All right. Kind of like it would be darker, but no, I'm going to leave it like that. I could also actually cut that out and put that there. Make this an actual element. I don't know. What do you think? Comment down below if you would have put this or this or this or this. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to glue that down and then I'm done. All right. That's it. That's going to be it for the birthday blog hop for Topflight. Happy birthday, Topflight Stamps. Again, it's been great being on the design team. I link below. I'll post my blog post. You can go there and hop along and see what all the other designers are doing. And also there's a contest or some gift certificates to be won. So I'll put that information below so that it'll have the date and the deadline of when it's over. If you like this video, and I hope you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and maybe even give me a thumbs up. Thanks so much. Have a great day.